Hello and welcome to this private kitchen roundtable discussion. Marieke de Bruijn, Allard, Buwalda and Jeroen de Rijk. Today we will be talking about being a session musician. My name is Ivo Witteveen, I'm a composer and music producer and I'm the host of this panel. I'll let them introduce themselves.
I am Marieke de Bruijn, violinist, and I have my own string group, the Dutch String Collective, playing as a professional musician in studios, recording for composers, for commercials, soundtrack and audio productions, artists, playing concerts.
And you, Allard?
I'm Allard Buwalda, jazz, pop and studio musician. I'm teacher at the conservatory in Zwolle, live gigs, sessions, workshop, lectures sometimes, and guest performances with orchestras or big bands.
Jeroen?
Yeah, Jeroen de Rijk. I pursued the dream of becoming a musician and I ended up now over 40 years later, before live situation studios, playing with orchestras. I started my own music production company, recording label and do some bookings. A lot of it is about performing music. So yeah, that's about it.
What's the balance in general between like playing live, playing recording sessions? Is it a 50-50 thing? Is
For me?
Yeah, for you, yeah.
50-50. That's, I can talk about it for an hour, but that's sort of the balance if I have to think.
Yeah.
And then out of that 50% recording, 90% comes out of my studio now. 10% is, going to other people's studios and record there. So
how's that for you, Marieke? You're probably more recording at recording studios, especially with larger groups, or?
Yeah, definitely, because recording strings is pretty specific. Mm-hmm. You have to really know how to do it, and acoustics are very important. I do some recording in my own house, and when I just record in a dry sound, a dry area, then of course you can add kinds of acoustics. And I think for violins and for strings, cellos, you really need somebody who really knows what to do with these string sounds.
And Allard, with horns, I know you record at home.
Since 2008, I record a lot of things at home, and I moved to the northern part of Holland, so that's very convenient now. And I made a little but very good acoustic studio here. Mm-hmm. I'm very happy with that, but I play a lot of live things as well. I like that a lot, but just had a couple of strange years for the musicians, of course. Yeah. That was nice to have a good sounding and good technical working environment at home.
Yeah. Can I say something about that? Mm-hmm. When playing with strings, different voices, it sounds the best when you play together. I try to be with a group. And when you're with a string quartet or even 10 or 15 players, of course, at home it's not enough. When you're recording at home, you layer all the voices. It never gets the same sound when all the overtones come together when you play as a group. So it is okay to do it at home, but the result is much less.
When you play with a section, Allard, like by the horn section.
We sometimes have the same problem, or it's not a problem, but as Marieke just said, I'm a part of the J horns, is a very famous horn section in Holland. We did a lot of in Hilversum at a home studio. It's not big, maybe twice my studio, but we're with 4 guys sitting, and we have this room mic as well. You can hear each other through the other microphones as well. You get a totally different balance with playing, but still for some things, I believe it's a big difference with strings. The timing is not a problem. So then it's not a problem to be somewhere else, and put the 4 together or something. Maybe I cannot hear it, but when we record a big band thing, then I play 5 saxes, and then it can help that you're in one room and okay.
Is it fun being a session musician? What do you bring to a session? What is the extra from a live human being?
that, once it's recorded, it's there pretty much forever. And before it's recorded, you don't know what's going to sound like. So it's pretty exciting from my perspective anyway, all those years, hundreds of CDs and all that. And now the sessions here at home is, something comes in and it goes out differently and nobody knows exactly what it's going to be. The excitement of, adding some voodoo to music that didn't have that voodoo before is as exciting as 40 years ago. The what you call the intrinsic motivation was not hit over those 40 years.
Yeah. And how's that for you, Marieke, and your string section players? Do you have like this intrinsic motivation? Do you have fun while recording, or is it just hard work?
Sometimes I make arrangements, but usually it's composed by other people. I think it's a privilege to be able to do that because I just love to go to studio, sit there, not exactly knowing what we're going to play. Usually you just get the notes and play at the time. We spend a lot of time during our education learning to read notes and play very precise, very exact, very in tune with a beautiful tone. And that's what we practice every day for hours still, all the time. And so it's kind of nerdy work that I love. I don't mind sitting in a studio with headphones, and it doesn't matter who is seeing you because it's just about making the nicest tone and making the best recording you can do at that moment. I love to do that.
Playing with orchestra.
I really love the sessions with our horn session. There's such talented guys. It's incredible. It's a Belgian trumpet player. He's fantastic. He's called Serge Plum, and Rick Mol is a soloist from the Metropole Orchestra. He plays as well in Jelle Jong, and he arranges a lot. Such a talented group. It's incredible. And when we play together, it's the most fun because the sound is great.
Were you also educated as a recording musician?
You don't get education for that. You just learn in practice. The thing is, I find when I play with string players, to have a good experience in string orchestras or string quartet playing. Of course, you learn fast enough. You learn what to do with the headphones, not wear them both, only on one ear. And have the other ear to hear your colleagues and hear your own violin. But the difficulty is, and this you can only learn by doing it. For example, you hear a guitar and a voice. So I usually have the voice turned down because the voice is not always in tune. Sometimes the vocals are going to be recorded later. So I take the instrument that gives me the harmonic information. And so I have to listen to the intonation of a guitar, which is also different from intonation on a string instrument. So you have to have this harmonic information in your ear to be able to fit in the arrangement. And with the other ear, you have to listen to your colleagues. That's my responsibility. I have to make sure that we are in tune with the 4 of us or with the 10 of us. So, and be rhythmic. So you have a click, you have harmonic information, then you have the expression that's written in your music. So you have to play beautiful and you have to do exactly what is asked. You have to use all your intelligence and musicality to do all that together.
Allard, how's that for you? I think you're educated as a jazz musician. Did you also learn the studio work on the job?
At first, I was intended to be a jazz soloist in 1995. I did several tours, and I decided maybe it's not my thing to live in hotels, etc. So I concentrated more on Holland and more on studio work and live gigs in Holland. I did at that time a lot of TV gigs. So it changed, but I recognize a lot what Marieke said. The things you have in your head you want to play do not always come out as the way you think they come out. And that's where the recording comes in. It helps a lot of students as well, because it let them hear what they sound like actually and not what they think they sound like. And I love that part. I was always thinking, oh, I'm pretty good. And then I heard the recording and I thought, oh, that is not that good as I thought. And that's where I learned. So it's always a problem, of course. You always develop, always have to learn, etc., etc. But now this is much more getting one. And when you play live, I think 90% of live playing you survive and the sound is not that great as you would have. But in the studio, you can adjust all the things. Then you have a great sound. That's what I love.
So you could say like the feedback you get from recording music helps you to keep developing as a musician.
Yeah, certainly. Yes, yes.
And can I maybe, add that part of because I very much relate to what Allard says. There we are in one world. I mean, I can play whatever I want and it's like, sounds like this in my head, but it says nothing about, the real world. Once you've been working with certain people more often, you can start trusting that it's okay. It took me a while to understand that if there's a good producer, a good technician, or an artist, or the combination of it, and some colleagues who say, man, you're fine, then I have to, I had to learn to put out of my head what I thought reality was. Mm-hmm. I started trusting that if they said that reality was like this, good or not good, do it again with another instrument or whatever. Mm-hmm. You go like, all right, I throw it in, and I'm in good company. And if they say it's this or that, then I should forget about, my inner world that lives with all the expectations and lives with, the concept of the sound and all the rest of it. Part of, growing up anyway in life, I guess, but also as a musician is trust your environment.
If I may add to this, can also be a problem. You mentioned a producer. The producer
artists can be problems.
Yeah, also. Some producers gets a lot better because I'm older now and what I want to play, and they leave it to me most of the time. In the past, I had to come to a studio somewhere in Holland. They had this terrible sound. I was playing there with a terrible sound. I always play a solo on my intuition because I think this is the music I hear. And I think this is the saxophone, take an alto for this song. This is how I feel it. Sometimes you get this producer who says, no. And then you have a problem, because he does not feel the music, or he does not feel it like I feel it.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
And then I had some pretty rough rides.